Christos Anesti. Your Beatitude, Archbishop Hieronymus, Archbishop of Athens and all Greece. Deputy Prime Minister John Chrysoulakis, Secretary General for Greeks abroad. Your Eminence, Archbishop Elpidophoros of America, the official representative of the Ecumenical Patriarch. Honorable Mayor of Athens, Haris Doukas. Brother Archon, Conference co-chair and dear friend after working so closely the past couple of years on this, Athanasios Martinos. Esteemed metropolitans of the Mother Church in Europe, respected and beloved Father Alexander Korloutsos, spiritual advisor of the Archons in America, brother Archons and friends. The Agora, the heart of public life in Athens. Administrative, judicial, cultural, and religious activities of the daily lives of Athenians took place right here at the foot of the Acropolis, the ancient rock. And here we are, by the grace of God. The Archons of the Ecumenical Patriarchate selected Athens as the site of our 4th International Conference because we wish to physically, spiritually, and culturally immerse ourselves in the birthplace of democracy and human rights. Look around you. Here at the Stoa of Attalos and in the coming days at the Acropolis, the old Parliament building, Zapion, buildings which are iconic physical manifestations of the very foundation of human rights and religious freedom. In the presence of our spiritual fathers, as Archons, we are fully committed to the needs of the Holy Mother Church of Constantinople. Our preceding religious freedom conferences have taken us to the great cities of the world: Brussels, Berlin, Washington. But never have we been to the epicenter of religious freedom, Athens, where democratic ideals and human rights were first established, where they matured, and where they spread throughout the 4 corners of the world. Now to discuss for a moment the relationship between the United States and our independence in ancient Greece and its independence, so please allow me. Our Declaration of Independence, July 4th, says the following: "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." In these words from the American Declaration of Independence, the renowned Philhellene, 3rd President of the United States, 1st Secretary of State, Thomas Jefferson, articulated profound truths he had gleaned from his intensive study of Aristotle, of Plato, and other pioneering Greek philosophers. His words have resonated throughout the ages as nations and peoples all over the globe have followed the American example and embarked upon their own struggles to secure life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In 1823, the 3rd year of the Greek struggle for independence, Thomas Jefferson carried on an enlightening correspondence with the Hellenic intellectual Adamantios Korais. In it, he offered advice on how a free state could be established and maintained in Greece, based on the three cardinal principles that had inspired the American Revolution. The writings of Korais, in turn, inspired many Greek revolutionaries and intellectuals who contributed to the ideological foundation of the independence movement here in Hellas. It is in defense of these principles that we are gathered these days here in Athens: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Life. We too hold these truths to be self-evident. Among the unalienable rights that the Creator has granted to all human beings is the right to pursue that Creator in the manner in which one's conscience and beliefs dictate. In other words, you can believe whatever you want to believe without the yoke of tyranny oppressing you, preventing you, or throwing you in a gulag, or making you march 1,000 miles to your death, as what took place in Turkey, as what took place in Armenia, as what took place in China, in Russia. These are not democracies, not real democracies. Real democracies take place here. In fact, the real democracy on June 9th prevented the Prime Minister himself from being here because he's running for re-election. We're having a real election in the United States. But they don't have real elections in Russia. They don't have real elections in China. As a result, there is unbridled tyranny in which religious freedom simply does not exist. And we stand here as Archons of the Mother Church to bring this to the attention of the world. To paraphrase the next segment of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness is liberty. We just talked about what real liberty means, and it doesn't exist in those totalitarian regimes that prevent free expression of thought. In Ukraine, one person granted religious freedom to 43 million deserving Orthodox Christians. His All Holiness, the Ecumenical Patriarch, granted autocephaly with his signature on the Tomos of Autocephaly that was granted in January 2019. He granted 43 million Orthodox Christians to no longer remain under the yoke, regrettably, of a patriarchate that is complicit in the murderous regime of Putin. Despicable actions that I'm ashamed to say Orthodox, killing Orthodox. Orthodox defending themselves against a murderous Russian political regime that is the Patriarch of Russia has been complicit in. Holy men don't do this. I'm not a holy man. We all commit sins. But observing from the United States of America and from Greece and from other free societies, to see a patriarchate participate in something as abhorrent and heinous as this is just shocking beyond comprehension. The pursuit of happiness, well, Thomas Jefferson didn't refer to the pursuit of happiness as hedonism, the pleasure for one's own sake. True happiness emanates from understanding the meaning and purpose of one's life and living in accord with that meaning and purpose. His All Holiness Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew has explained that faith imbues existence with purpose and unveils the eternal realm, granting a life transcendent over the grasp of mortality. Yet all over the globe today, people are denied to the right to pursue this happiness, as they are prevented from seeking God in the manner in which they desire. You know, the Pew Foundation, one of the world's greatest research institutions, has determined that over 70% of the world's population lives with some degree of restriction of religious freedom. It is for those people that we have gathered here today, those people whose religious freedom is restricted. And later on this week, on Wednesday, May 29th, as you know, it was that fateful Tuesday, May 29th in 1453, that Constantinople fell to the Ottomans after a heroic struggle. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness were extinguished for the Christians of Constantinople, and to some degree, they remain extinguished. We are gathered here to pledge our utmost strenuous efforts to ensure that such violations of human rights do not happen again to any people anywhere on earth. The theme of the Fourth International Conference on Religious Freedom is protecting religious freedom, democracy, and human rights. Democracy and human rights and religious freedom all go hand in hand. Authoritarian societies impinge upon the human rights of individuals. We are therefore here to affirm that as long as there is life within us, we will go undaunted in our efforts to protect religious freedom for all faiths: Christians, Muslims, Jews, Buddhists, all peoples. Indeed, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are unalienable and can never be fully extinguished. Where they are denied, they nevertheless spring up again, like blades of grass through concrete. Yet human beings can only fully flourish when these rights are protected and defended, and people are truly free to exercise them without fear. Fear. It's a hard power, it's a soft power, but it's a real power. Fear. It is for this purpose that we have convened here today, to protect rights that make for the full embodiment of the human spirit. Just as Thomas Jefferson and his fellow early American founders stated over 2 centuries ago, so also today, for the defense of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, for the protection of religious freedom, democracy, and human rights, we are ready to pledge our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. For free people, there is no higher calling. Amen. Thank you.